How do you feel?
Terrible. What's going on, guys? Tyler here with Titanium Fitness. If this is the first video of mine that you're seeing, I'm a former natural pro bodybuilder, record-holding powerlifter. I have been coaching nutrition and training online for the past 8 years now. So if that's something that's interesting at all to you and you want to learn more about what I do, or if you want to see reviews from past and current clients, feel free to check out the website down below in the description. There will be an opportunity to win a month of free coaching, including the customized nutrition training programming, weekly video calls, the whole shebang. You can win that for free at the end of this video, so stick around to learn more about that. Finally, just want to say real quick, if this video is at all entertaining or useful for you, please consider drop-kicking that like button and subscribing for more content like this in the future. Now, quick backstory. For all the people that I coach, I have a video call with them on a weekly basis, and a topic that keeps coming up in these calls is this idea of grit. Grit is just kind of a funny word to describe the perseverance of your effort, or the perseverance of your discipline. How consistent is that going to be over time through every obstacle, right? You have to understand, a lot of times the way this works is clients will come to me, they're going to tell me what their goal set is, they're going to tell me how much time and effort they can devote to that. And then my job becomes optimizing their program to get them the best possible result given that amount of time and effort. While that's all well and good, it does sort of ignore the character building aspect of training. Now, I don't know about you guys, maybe you have a similar experience, but when I first started training, I was in high school. I didn't know a whole lot about anything, let alone training and nutrition. And I distinctly remember not knowing much, but training my ass off. Every day I could train. I was in there for like 3 hours, almost every single day of my life at that point. And while it was not the smartest or even close to the most effective way I could go about it, it was hard. And there's something to be said about the value of hard work for the sake of hard work. So I don't at all regret that experience, despite the fact that it might not have been as effective as it could have been. I remember after that time, as I started learning more and making my training more effective, looking back on those memories and those really tough workouts, it did make it easier for me to study for long hours in finals week at UCLA, or for me to deprive myself of certain indulgences during bodybuilding contest prep, or even for me to work 100+ hour weeks when I was building up my businesses. All of those things, every time I was faced with a really tough situation, I always think to myself, this is not the hardest thing I've done, not yet. I can get through this, I'll be fine. The point of all this is just that giving yourself opportunities to push that mental barrier, regardless of the physical benefit or detriment in this case, is a great way to develop grit. So that, next time that you specifically, when you're faced with an obstacle or a tough situation, you will more likely acknowledge that impending difficulty and you'll lean into it. You'll suck it up, you'll grit your teeth, and you'll fight through like you're supposed to. It's not to say that we don't train hard as is on a normal daily basis. I just knew that if we threw optimization out the window for a bit, we could write a workout that was harder than anything in recent memory. Now, the point, there's a cat here. Come here, buddy. The point is that almost anybody could do this anywhere. All you have to do is put on your shoes, go out your door, and you can do this workout. It is supposed to be very hard, don't get me wrong, so you might struggle, but it should certainly be possible for most of you guys. This workout is going to consist of a 3.5 mile run, followed by 50 push-ups, and then an 1/8 mile run, and then 50 crunches, an 1/8 mile, 50 jump squats, an 1/8 mile, 50 push-ups again, 1/8 mile, 50 crunches, 1/8 mile, 50 jump squats, and then one final 1/8 mile. If you're wondering about the idea here, again, it comes down to like accessibility. I want this to be something that anybody could do this. For me, I just go to the park nearest to my house, and I know that park is roughly a 1/2 mile loop. I will use my GPS app to make sure I have my distances precise, but it's a little bit longer than a 1/2 mile, so I know roughly how many loops I have to make, and I have time callouts on my phone and everything. And then the 1/8 mile I measured out ahead of time just to make sure I had that already set up. If you are trying to do this to submit for the possibility of free coaching, be sure you look down below in the description. I will have very detailed instructions that you've got to follow if you want to be eligible to win. You can see I started my run pretty early. It was still dark outside. You could barely see me in the first clip. Shout out to the girlfriend for coming with me to help me document this. I know she was tired in the morning. woke her up to ask if she could help out. She was more than willing to, so thank you, Christine. For perspective, I am not at all an endurance athlete. I've trained for all of my 10 training years exclusively for either bodybuilding or powerlifting or some mix of both. Only in the past couple of months have I even dabbled into running, and I'm not good at it by any means. My form's not good. I'm trying to learn, so if you guys have any advice for me, anything that you see I'm doing here incorrectly or that I can improve on, please let me know. I know a couple of things that I struggle with though. One is pacing. I tend to come out a little too hot, get too excited in the beginning, and I end up fatiguing myself early. Usually deliberately, not so much on these long runs, but on my shorter runs, like my miles or like my intervals, I'll kind of sit and kick. So I'll choose a pace, a difficult but comfortable pace from the majority of the run, and at the very last bit, I will push myself as hard as I can. In the case of this run, that wouldn't have made sense, so I try to keep in the back of my head that when I do come for my last round, or my last lap here, if you want to call it that, I didn't want to push myself too hard because I knew it was coming afterward, and I knew I was not even close to being done by the time I finished this long run. So at this point, you can kind of see, I think this is going to be the end of the run, and I'll grab my phone out. I wanted to mark down my time so I can keep track of that for my program, aside from this workout entirely, and then make my way back over here to the starting point. I had to come back to the starting point because that's kind of where I marked out the distance for my 8th mile. Slam some Gatorade. Always important. Stay hydrated, whether that's water, Gatorade, whatever you choose. Make sure you bring something with you so you don't pass out. And pro tip, if it's hot where you live, do this in the morning, do this at night. Don't do it in the middle of the day. You can if you want, but I don't think anybody really wants to or will perform well in 100+ degree heat, depending on where you live. Now, you can kind of see me contemplating where I should do my push-ups because I realize the curb or the sidewalk slopes toward the street. So doing it this way, I am essentially slightly elevating my feet, making my life a little harder. But I figured there's not really any flat ground here. I might as well make it harder rather than making it easier. Again, rules are going to be posted down below, but the standard for push-ups is going to be you should keep your body neutral. So we should see a nice straight line from your shoulder to your hip to your knee to your ankle. That should be maintained the entire time. As far as range of motion, at the bottom of your push-up, some portion of your torso should touch the ground. So whether that's your chest, your sternum, your stomach, some portion there, whatever sticks out furthest, needs to touch the ground before you come back up. And at the top, we do want to see full extension of your elbows, so full lockout there. To give you an idea how hard this was, I would say normally, just, completely cold but well rested, I could probably crank out a set of 50, 60 push-ups no problem. But here, I think I only made it to like maybe 20 something or 30 something in that first mini set before I had to take a little bit of a rest. I was still having a hard time recovering from that run, to be honest. And again, in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking like I have so much more work to do after this. I kind of want to pace myself so I can push harder when I really have to. And I almost fall off the curb trying to get up, and we're off to the races. After the push-ups, honestly, my legs felt okay, so I was okay going for a little bit faster of a pace here for that first 8th mile. I probably will either fast forward this or cut this because you're not going to be able to see me at the far end. And when you record, if you do record for the challenge, I only need to see one set of each movement. So, one set of push-ups, or sorry, one round of the 50 push-ups, one round of the 50 crunches, one round of the 50 jump squats. The easiest way to set this up is honestly going to be to leave a camera at one spot or one end of your 8th mile, and then it'll essentially alternate, right? So you're going to get one of each. But as you can see here, I have a camera down this way, and it's recording me. Can't see what I'm doing anyway, so I'm probably going to cut this or fast forward through it, just so you don't waste your time watching a video of nothing. And then after doing my 50 crunches, made my way back over here. Again, after the crunches, my legs felt okay, so I was pushing a little faster than I was at the end of the previous long run. When I get down here, we've got jump squats, and man, this was by far the hardest part of this workout. I will say, for what it's worth, not an excuse at all, just poor planning on my end. I did volume squats the day before. I had like 355 for a set of 8 or something ridiculous, and my legs were feeling it at this point. Like already without doing jump squats, I was already feeling it and not having to do jump squats, and it was hell. So the standard here is going to be a little bit more subjective. 1, don't fall off the curb if you're doing it on the sidewalk. 2, main thing here is that you want to propel yourself high enough that that your legs have to work to catch you. I know that's not really a clear-cut standard, but you know, implementing a height standard for how high you have to jump, that's kind of impossible for something like this. So I'm going to trust that you guys doing this challenge are going to hold yourself to a higher standard. You're going to push yourself as hard as you reasonably can here. What I don't want to see is people like only kind of jumping off the ground, like getting a couple inches up. If that's as high as you can jump, fine. But if it looks like you're not trying, you know, we can't really give you credit for that. But as you can tell, this was killer for me. My legs were completely shot and I was still trying to tough it out through these jump squats. And you can really tell, like on the way down, as I'm trying to catch myself, a lot of these reps I'm losing balance for because my quads are just ready to give up. But my brain was not, and I'm proud of that. All right, crank out those last few, and then really, that's one of those suck it up moments. I'm in a lot of pain and barely trotting along for this 8th mile, but trying to make it work. All right, here we're coming back toward this end. Really feeling it at this point. You can tell the fatigue is setting in. I do think in retrospect, watching this footage back, I feel like this moment, I probably could have pushed a little harder. I'm not sure why I didn't, and if I try this challenge again or something again in the future, it's those moments that I'm going to look for, that I'm going to feel for, and try to see if I can't push harder. But you know, it's so much easier to say that looking back than it is in the moment of actually doing it. Now, for the crunches, you'll see here, if you have something to put your feet up against, that's a good idea, but in my case, that curve is sloped a little bit too much. So my feet fly up and I ended up not even being able to count my first couple of reps. But the standard that we're going for here is we want to have your feet on the floor, knees bent, and your hands on top of your head. And I want to make an important distinction between a crunch and a sit-up. These first few reps here, I'm not sure why I'm doing that. That's a full sit-up. So a sit-up would be getting your whole torso up off the ground, kind of bringing your chest toward your knees. A crunch is different in that you only are going to see your upper and mid back raise off the ground. You're essentially going to try to curl your spine forward. All we're going for is a strong ab contraction and get your, we'll say like your upper back and shoulder blades off the ground. And that's all we really need. One thing I want to see people avoid is don't let your hands get off of your head. We want your hands and arms stationary. I don't want to see people throwing their arms forward to try to build some momentum into each rep. But man, these were tough. These were a lot harder than I thought they would be. I have a feeling that might be because when I run, I tend to tense up on my front side, so my abs contract kind of accidentally when I'm running. And I imagine some of that fatigue carries over into these crunches. Look at that nice puddle of sweat underneath my back on the asphalt. Did not realize I was sweating that much. But all right, 8th mile back down that way for my final round of what will be 50 jump squats. Thankfully down at that end, so I measured out my 8th mile and I would actually run a little bit further just to get around the corner. So I realized that if I were just in the straight part of the sidewalk, I'd be in people's way. But there is a section of the sidewalk that's much wider just past the corner, so I liked it to kind of just go a little farther, get out of people's way in case they're walking on the sidewalk. But for the jump squats, that made this second round a little bit, not easier by any means, but it made it feel a little safer in case I felt like I was going to fall off the curb. And at this moment, I promise you, I remember distinctly, this is everything I had. That's as fast as I could move. I wanted to move faster. My brain was ready to move faster. My body was not. But we got it done. Time stopped there. And you will see me almost pass out and die on the floor. Not actually, but it was tough. So, if you guys are looking for a way to find that wall and push through it, give this workout a try. If you're interested in winning a free month of coaching, you can submit your time. As long as you follow the rules are going to be posted down below in the description, as well as on my newsletter. So if you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing. But if you are intending to submit your time for a chance to win that free month of coaching, please read through those rules carefully. If you don't follow those rules, I cannot allow your submission. Either way though, if you're just doing this for the sake of fun or for the sake of pushing yourself, hopefully everybody is able to take some value away from this. And for now, that's all we've got. Appreciate you watching. Like I said, if you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.